I think many people have it all wrong. Many times people think that holiday weekends are the worst time to buy a house. Guess what? I'm here to say it can be the best time to buy a house and score an absolute deal. Let's dive in and talk about all the ways.
You're listening to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast, where we invite you to check your ego at the app, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to dive into all things real estate marketing, social media, friendship, hardship, love, money mindset, and all the things that celebrate you as a badass boss babe.
We're here to encourage you, show up for you, give you a loving kick in the pants when you need it most, and be your soft place to land on the hardest of days. So pull up a seat at our table and get ready to be inspired and start living your best life by design.
Welcome to the Girl Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast. We are so excited you're here.
Okay, girls, let's dive in. Happy 4th of July. Beth here doing a solo episode, and we're going to talk all about holiday weekends can be the best time to score a great deal on a home. You might think that that is not the case, but it is. So let's dive in. Let's dive in and talk about all the things. So I'm going to talk about summer in particular, but so much of this falls into all the holidays. We've talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but it's a great reminder. It's a great refresher. Last year, 4th of July, it was blazing hot. I had people in town, but guess what? Somebody reached out and they said, there's a house that's been sitting on the market and we'd love to see it. We happen to be in town. Are you in town? I'm like, I am. And I didn't have any plans until later in the day. So I'm like, as long as we can do it early in the morning, property happened to be vacant. I'm like, I'm on board. Let's go see it. So we went and toured this home in a killer school district. And for whatever reason, it is a home that had been sitting on the market. It was vacant, so it didn't show great. I always, any of my investors or anyone that is moving and they're like, we're just going to leave our home vacant. No, let's not leave your home vacant. When your home is vacant, the only thing to focus on is imperfections. Let's say that again. When your home is vacant and it's for sale, the only thing to focus on is imperfections. There's nothing else to see. People have a hard time visualizing spaces. They have a hard time visualizing what size sofa, what size dining room. Does this room fit a king size bed? So many people do not have spatial relation and they cannot figure out what a room would look like. Every time I have looked at properties with my sister and brother-in-law, my brother-in-law is super creative, really artsy. So basically he and I always decorate the house and my sister's like, I'm just along for the ride, just make my house look cool. But when we've toured vacant homes, my sister said, I don't see what you guys are seeing. She's like, I don't know what furniture is going to look like in this room. I can't even envision it. And so then my brother-in-law and I have to be really descriptive. Okay, a sofa would go here and you can have your sectional here and your king bed will work on this wall. And then you would do this and this and this with the furniture. And she's like, okay, that makes sense. But just walking into the room, had Brian and I not been there, my sister Joan, she can't see any of that. So keep that in mind when homes are vacant. They never show as good. Even if they have virtual staging, that's great for photos. But then when you get there in person, you're like, oh shit, it's vacant. So, wah, wah. So that's a whole little side tangent. But let's talk about why holiday weekends are such a great time to score a deal. So 4th of July is here this week. I love when 4th of July falls in the middle of the week because then it kind of feels like you get an extended holiday. And let's be honest, holidays in real estate are sort of arbitrary. So many people are out of town. Let's just call it what it is, especially here in the Midwest, especially here in Minnesota. So many people have cabins. They go to the lake. They go just on a lake here locally. They're outside. They're doing summer concerts. They're doing all the things. And they are not usually paying attention to buying or selling a home. So when I'm representing a seller, I do not like to put homes on the market on a holiday weekend. I think, especially here in Minnesota, too many buyers are gone. You have less eyeballs looking at homes. That's not to say that, homes wouldn't sell, because they might. But if I can wait a week and guide my sellers to wait a week when everybody's back in town, I think that's going to benefit a seller better. However, in this episode, we're talking about buyers and deals to be had. So if everybody in the Twin Cities is out of town, when is a good time to look at houses? On a holiday weekend. And many times so if sellers have their house on the market this time of year, especially over a holiday, it means they really want to sell. So there's that. That's great. If you find a home that's vacant, that's also great, because they already went somewhere. Maybe they had to relocate. Maybe they already bought a new home. Maybe they're getting divorced. You just never know what the scenario is without talking to the listing agent. And many times the listing agent isn't going to show their hand. But if they have a house that's vacant and they already went somewhere, chances are you're going to get a better deal on that house. So I tend to think that people are really generous during the holidays. More generous than they are maybe other times of the year. Does that feel like a bold statement? Well, I'm going to go with it. I just think about all the time, over the years, I had some sellers that their timeline got really delayed with the sale of their home. They had already moved to their new home, but then they had a whole bunch of other projects to get done in their current home. And I feel like many times, when you move to the new home, then the projects on the old home are just whatever, we'll get to it when we get to it. And I'm like, hey guys, we're coming up on Christmas and this isn't my favorite time of the year to list the home. And they're like, Beth, we just really want to get the house under contract. And so I listed the house the week before Christmas. We ended up getting 12 offers because it was in a great part of town. Incredible school district, move-in ready, a big, 5-bedroom, 2-story house with a walkout basement. So it checked so many boxes for buyers. But that one, it was interesting to see how many people, because it was vacant, buyers were scheduling showings, and, we're negotiating that over Christmas weekend. There's been times I've negotiated sales Christmas Eve. I still remember sitting at my Christmas at the island, and we're in the middle of opening gifts type thing, or we had just finished opening gifts, and I'm going back and forth with the buyer and the listing agent. And I'm like, all right, let me just go grab my laptop and send the offer out for signatures. And that was in the middle of Christmas Eve. I mean, you just don't ever know, but buyers that want to buy houses, holiday weekends are a hell of a deal to do it. Something to keep in mind over a holiday weekend is that even though me, the real estate agent, I'm here, I'm in town and I'm working, other people, other key players in the real estate transaction might not be working. So that's something to really keep in mind when you're thinking about scheduling your inspection period. Say you have a cash offer and you want to close quick. Well, is the title company going to get hustling on the file if they're not working? Probably not. Most title companies are Monday through Friday. Most home inspectors are Monday through Friday. My home inspector will do a Saturday inspection. I think he's even done a Sunday inspection for me if I pretty pleased him nice enough. But many times those people, and they also have a life. So there's a good chance that they're out of town. They're at their cabin. They're spending time with their family. So they might not want to be doing a home inspection or starting a title file or sending you a pre-approval letter. So these are all things that you need to be a little preemptive about. But sometimes just putting a message out on Facebook saying, hey, still thinking about buying a house? I'm around this holiday weekend. And maybe you don't want to work on the holiday weekend. So maybe you're not going to announce it and say, hey, I'm open for business. But if somebody reaches out, you're like, heck yeah, I'd love to show you a home. Let's do it early in the morning so then you can enjoy your day and I can enjoy my day too. And it feels like a win-win for everybody. So there are just ways to work around it where it doesn't feel like you're working nonstop during the holiday weekend, but also you're serving your clients at a high level, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. You're finding balance and joy in your life, because if you don't have balance and joy, then working your tail off doesn't make sense either. So as long as you can make it work, I always say, like, why not? So you might be thinking that the holiday weekend is the worst time of the year to buy a home. Guess what? It might actually be the best time of the year to buy a home. You just never know. So if you're around this 4th of July weekend and buying a home is still on your radar, make sure that your pre-approval letter is buttoned up. You have a couple of days. This episode's coming out on July 1st. Make sure you talk to your lender like today, sooner rather than later. Get pre-approved. Maybe even just get a generic pre-approval letter so you have that, so you are able to pull the trigger if a home pops up later this week that you really want to see. And many times we're not going to see brand new listings hitting the market. But if we do, there's a good chance it's not going to have 20 multiple offers. Might have a couple, but there's a good chance it's not going to be 20. So if you want to buy a home, keep holiday weekends and big, beautiful summer weekends available to go see some homes with your agent, and know that there might be some deals to be had out there. New construction is the same thing. I've been saying this for a while. New construction is one of the best places to get a deal. Guess what? Those agents that work for the builder that sit in the model homes at new construction, they don't get hardly any holidays. They are there, rain, shine. They're kind of like the post office. Rain or shine, they've got to be there. Blizzards, they've got to be there. And when homes aren't selling and it's a holiday weekend and it's really quiet at the model home, they want to get stuff under contract. So builders are offering hella deals right now. They're offering closing cost incentives. Many of them are offering lender like low money where you can actually buy your interest rate down, or they're just offering lower interest rates in general if you use the builder's title company and lending company. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you've had your eye on a spec home with a builder in a certain area, keep keeping an eye on it, because as it sits, the builder gets more and more excited to sell it. And then they're generally doing price reductions. And many times the posted price is not always the final price. So keep that in mind. I have been able to negotiate some really incredible deals for sellers just simply by going back to the builder and saying, hey, this is what we want the offer to be. We want you to throw in a washer and dryer. We want you to throw in a water softener. How about some blinds? And yeah, we're still going to ask for more money off the price of the house. Answer is always no until we ask, right? So you're probably living your best cabin life. You're probably living your best outdoor life this week. But if buying a home is on your radar, reach out to your agent and get a plan in place. If you're working with me or want to work with me, reach out. I'm in town. Let's get a plan in place so we can all still enjoy our holiday weekend and get you a deal on a house. It can be and both. It doesn't have to be either or. So, happy 4th of July. Be safe. Have fun. And live your very best 4th of July life. If you're local, come by and see me. I'm going to be slinging beer on July 3rd, like I do every year for the Chanhassen Rotary. And it's at the park right behind Town Hall and where the library is. There is a street band. There's a carnival. There's food trucks, and Rotary serves all the beer. And it is one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. So that's where I'm going to be on July 3rd in the afternoon. If you want to swing by and say hi, I would love to meet you in person. And any of my past clients, that's where you're going to find me on July 3rd. So we're not looking at houses then, but we'll find a time to do it another time over the weekend if that's something that you want to do. So until next time, bus bench babes, keep your face off a bus bench and keep being the badass boss babes that you are.
Okay, girls, are you feeling as inspired as we are? We're over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of the Girl, Get Your Face Off a Bus Bench podcast.
If you want more, head over to girlgetyourfaceoffabusbench.com for show notes and more episodes. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. They mean the world to us, and they're what keep us going.
Girl, thanks for being here.